Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Students, today we are going to talk about dangling modifiers, and at the end of the lecture we will be able to uh, figure out what is a dangling modifier. A dangling modifier is a case when in a phrase or in a class the central point, the target word, is missing. Then we call it an error of dangling modifier, because whatever is being modified, if it is missing, then meaning is not conveyed properly. And how this can be addressed? In case of misplaced modifiers that we have talked in another lecture, we just readjust the placement of a misplaced modifier and error is rectified. But in case of dangling modifier, usually we need to revise the structure, or we need to add something that is missing, but that should be logical. Here are a few examples for us to follow. Working hard all afternoon in the kitchen, the cake tasted terrible. अब इसमें आप देखें कि what is the issue with this. In this phrase, which is a participle phrase, working hard all afternoon in the kitchen, in this phrase we see that there is no target word. Who been working? And the cake tasted terrible. Who tasted? The reporter is missing. The person who been working hard, might be he himself is the reporter. So we can revise the structure like this. Working hard all afternoon in the kitchen, I found the cake taste terrible. So here we have supplied I found, and the structure has also been revised. So how we have revised it? We have supplied a verb and subject here. So this becomes a better describing statement. It describes the experience well, or it can be like this: as I work hard all afternoon in the kitchen, I found the cake taste terrible. In this case, we see a subject. We see the word that was missing in the original example we have supplied here, and similarly we have supplied as I here. As I work hard all afternoon in the kitchen, this working hard has been changed into work hard. So as I work hard all afternoon in the kitchen, I found the cake taste terrible. So this can be your answer too. So you can revise your statement like this or like this. These can be two cases or examples. You can have any other example of revision also, but these are the probable revisions. Another case is, looking towards the west, a tornado stirred up dust and debris. Now who was looking toward the west is missing. We add to that, as I looked toward the west. Now we have supplied a subject here, as I, and verb also has been changed. As I looked toward the west, a tornado stirred up dust and debris. Or you yet can revise it, as I looked toward the west, I saw a tornado stir up dust and debris. So you can say, looking toward the west, I saw a tornado stir up dust and debris. That also can be the case. So there can be multiple cases, multiple changes we can do to or make to this dangling case, and make a sentence which is elegant, which is grammatically correct one, and that conveys better meaning. So we study the cases of dangling modifier one by one in the modifiers. So there are various cases of dangling modifiers. First one is dangling participle phrase, then dangling gerund, then dangling infinitives, and the last but not least, dangling elliptical clauses. We talk about them one by one. What is a dangling participle phrase? In case of dangling participle phrase, a participle or a word appears to be both an adjective and a verb, and the target word is missing. That it, if it is adjective, then it might be describing certain word, certain noun. So if that noun is missing, we need to supply that. In case of dangling gerund would be given without its target, and that causes a confusion in the statement. Dangling infinitives, it is a 2 plus base form of verb and wrongly placed or wrongly given, conveying a confused meaning. Dangling elliptical clauses, in this case, a verb or subject of a clause is understood, but that is missing at the same time. We need to supply that and our error would be addressed. Let us see it one by one. First case is of dangling participle phrase. Here is an example. Leading the way, the path opened into a clearing. Now, leading the way is a participle phrase. The path opened into, who was leading the way? We do not know. Leading is modifying something. It might be modifying a noun, the one who was leading, that is missing. So you can make changes like this. As I led the way, the path opened into a clearing. You have supplied I here. And in another example could be, as I led the way, I found the path open into a clearing. So these are two cases. There can be other cases of revised statements which are elegant one. So you can address this error by making certain changes in the structure. There is another example. Mounting onto the horseback, my balance was lost. Now, who was mounting onto the horseback is missing. My balance was lost is not like purse, my wallet or pen or pencil or bag that one loses. It could be like this. My mounting onto the horseback, I lost my balance. This is appropriate one. Or yet there can be more changes. While I was mounting onto the horseback, I lost my balance. So example case 1 and case 2, they seem more elegant. Here we by supplying I lost my balance, and in this case by supplying while I was mounting onto the horseback, and then addition to that I lost my balance. These are better explaining statements. Then dangling gerunds. So a gerund would be without its target, then causing a confusion to the meaning. Here is a case. After walking for hours in the desert, the oasis was a pleasant sight. Who been walking? We do not know from this sentence. So we add that part. देखिए हमें मालूम ही नहीं है कि who been walking and we saw. Who is reporting that oasis was a pleasant sight? So we add that missing part like this. After walking for hours in the desert, we found the oasis a pleasant sight. This underlined part we found has been added to this, making the meaning clear. So in this way, it is up to us. Logically, we find it out what is missing part. We add that missing, and that we know through practice and through conscious learning of rules of grammar, and that isn't difficult. You can see it from here. Here is another example. After we had walked for hours in the desert, this is another revised case. After we had walked for hours in the desert, we found the oasis a pleasant sight. This is more explained. So there can be other examples of solution to this case of dangling modifier, dangling gerund case. The third one is dangling infinitives, mean to plus base form of verb. They too also cause confusion. Here is a case. To run a marathon, stamina is needed. Now, who would run? Subject is missing. We give a solution. To run a marathon, one must have stamina. Yes, now it becomes clear. Stamina is a must, isn't clear. So one must have stamina. This is elegant and appropriate statement. Or if one aspires to run a marathon, one must have a stamina. Yet more explained. So in this way, by adding the missing part, we convey better meaning. आप याद रखें कि ये आपका अंडरस्टैंडिंग ऑफ ग्रामर, आपकी अंडरस्टैंडिंग ऑफ इंग्लिश स्ट्रक्चर जो है वही आपको हेल्प आउट करेगा. यहाँ पे आप कॉन्शियस रूल्स को देख रहे हैं, कॉन्शियसली आप इसको समझ रहे हैं, तो आप देखेंगे कि इट इज़ इन्फिनेटिव केस. इन्फिनेटिव केस में आप देखते हैं कि सब्जेक्ट इज मिसिंग, तो आप क्या करते हैं, आप सप्लाई सब्जेक्ट टू एनी पार्ट. दिस इज द सेंट्रल पार्ट, वन मस्ट हैव स्टेमिना. आप इसके साथ वन मस्ट हैव स्टेमिना ऐड कर देते हैं, या फिर यू ऐड वन टू बोथ पार्ट्स. इफ वन एस्पायर्स टू रन ए मैराथन, वन मस्ट हैव स्टेमिना. तो आप देखें कि हमने यहाँ पे स्ट्रक्चरल चेंजेस की हैं. इन केस ऑफ मिसप्लेस्ड एडवर्ब्स, वहां पे हम सिर्फ एडवर्ब्स को उनकी अप्रोप्रिएट प्लेस पे लगा देते हैं. इन केस ऑफ डैंगलिंग हम क्या करते हैं, हम स्ट्रक्चर को भी रिवाइज करते हैं. यहाँ पे स्ट्रक्चर रिवाइज हो गया, इस केस में स्ट्रक्चर रिवाइज हो गया, तो वी फॉर्म ए बेटर सेंटेंस इन दिस वे. द लास्ट बट नॉट लीस्ट, डैंगलिंग इलिप्टिकल क्लासेस. जैसे पहले मैंने कहा था कि ऐसी क्लास जिसमें सब्जेक्ट और वर्ब जो है अंडरस्टूड हो, बट इट इज नॉट गिवन, दैट इज कॉल्ड डैंगलिंग इलिप्टिकल क्लास. एग्जाम्पल इज, while reading a book, heard a knock at the door. Now who was reading the book and who heard the knock at the door? It isn't clear. आप इसको supply कर दें. आप कहते हैं while reading a book, I heard a knock at the door. Clear हो गया. या फिर आप ये भी कह सकते हैं while I was reading a book, I heard a knock at the door. तो by making these structural changes, by adding certain parts, इसमें आपने सब्जेक्ट एंड वर्ब ऐड किया, यहाँ पे आपने सब्जेक्ट एंड वर्ब ऐड किया, इधर भी आपने ऐड किया, तो आपके स्ट्रक्चर ज़्यादा बेहतर, ज़्यादा एलिगेंट, क्लियर हो गए और एरर फ्री हो गए. दिस इज एरर. सो दिस इज एरर ऑफ डैंगलिंग इलिप्टिकल क्लास. Thank you very much for watching my lecture. Keep watching my videos and following my videos. I will be uploading more useful lectures for you. Students of CSS, one paper, FPSC exam, students of BS, ADP, they all equally can benefit from my lectures. Thank you very much.